Welcome to a fresh episode of Tech News with Apple, Samsung, Huawei and Sony in the news today, and big news if you are a OnePlus fan. Looks like we've just got the specs of the OnePlus 8 phones. OPPO are about to release a new phone called the OPPO Reno Ace 2. This is obviously the successor to the Reno Ace, which came at the tail end of last year. That phone was in the mold of the OnePlus 7T and also the Realme X2 Pro. Depending on which market you're in, you'll be familiar with either of those phones. The original Reno Ace was a really good deal. It had the flagship processor at the time and also a 90Hz display with the fastest charging we'd ever seen in a phone before at 65 watts. The Reno Ace 2 is looking to include 65 watts as well, use the same wired charging, but according to rumours in China, it could be using the fastest wireless charging we've ever seen at 40 watts. I believe that would actually be a world record for the fastest wireless charging in a consumer smartphone. It's definitely very quick anyway, and it should be getting maybe a 48 megapixel camera. The camera was never really a focus for that brand or that phone in particular, but a 90Hz display and amazingly fast charging, and also a very thin, light device according to the rumours. All iPhone production in India has been halted. A lot of phones are made there, especially the cheaper models and the older models that Apple still sells, but everything has been halted in terms of Apple's production lines there. Both Foxconn and Wistron, which do actually the manufacturing of the iPhones in that country, have been halted, but it goes without saying that's just the way it is at the moment, and everyone's health is way more important. Google Podcasts is now available on iOS, so if you have an iPhone, you can go and download it in the App Store right now. This is a bit of a strange one. I don't know why, if you're an Apple user especially, you would want or even have the need to go for Google Podcasts. There are plenty of solutions already available, including Apple's own podcast app, which is going to provide everything you want, but it is there. So if you want to use Google Podcasts on your iPhone, you now have the option. A Realme smartwatch has been confirmed very soon. The CEO in India confirmed it in a recent YouTube video, said he was wearing the watch. So we get our first look at this product, and it can be yours very soon. So it should be coming to market very, very soon, at least in India, definitely in China too. And Realme are pushing into Europe, so there's no reason why they couldn't push the product there too. They've already released some phones in Europe. As for other markets, they don't really have much of a presence. So probably those three markets right now for the upcoming Realme watch. The full camera specs of the Sony Xperia 1 Mark II. This is their flagship phone. Should be incredibly expensive, have all the latest hardware and the latest flagship processor, the Snapdragon 865. But we got to look at the camera hardware specs today. So this phone should be coming with 3 cameras on the back. All of them are 12 megapixel image sensors. 2 of them are made by Sony themselves, the main camera and the ultra-wide camera. The telephoto is apparently made by Samsung and the selfie camera made by Samsung too. Most interesting is the main image sensor, which they call the IMX557. Interestingly, the new Sony camera sensor that is found in the Galaxy S20 and S20 Plus is the IMX555. So this should be a very similar camera sensor to that one. It's very big, it has very big pixels. It's a brand new camera sensor that Samsung are using in their phones this year. So that should be a very good camera sensor. We'll just have to see what Sony can do with their own hardware in their flagship product. Both Samsung and Qualcomm are coming to market with new chipsets for TWS, truly wireless earbuds and earphones. Samsung already used this technology in their own version, the Galaxy Buds Plus, which launched alongside the S20 phones, but both Samsung and Qualcomm should be making these new chips available to customers, so read into that the other Android manufacturers. Qualcomm are apparently making 2 different types of chip, a budget and a premium, but apparently both have active noise cancellation. So we should be seeing a lot of products in the near future that are TWS type with better specs, active noise cancellation. And when it comes to the Samsung chip, they were apparently able to make the chip much smaller than the first generation, which means there's more space for a battery, which should increase battery life overall. So we should be getting some better specs and some better hardware in terms of these TWS earphones very soon. Huawei have registered a new patent that reveals this actual OLED screen that goes around a camera bump. This looks a lot like the Mate 40 Pro, but there's no guarantee that it's going to come to a product. This would be a touchscreen that gives you notifications and messages and alarms and can be used as a touchscreen, maybe to control the camera. There would be lots of different uses for a design like this for sure, and it does fit in with the Mate 30's design, which could be in a Mate 40 when that comes later on this year, but it's just a patent for now and it might never make it to a real product. We got some new concept CAD renders of a Galaxy Fold 2 device from Samsung. These are based on the latest leaked information about the product. One of the things that is very likely is the use of an Infinity V display. That's what Samsung call basically a V-shaped cutout for the selfie camera. That would be on the front screen, which may be getting a lot bigger too. These CADs are from Waka Khan, who makes amazing CAD drawings and videos as well. As you can see, the bezels on the inside have been shrunk. He's used a cutout camera there. These rumors have circulated for a while, whether Samsung actually go with these or stick to a more similar design to the original Galaxy, we're yet to know. But there are big rumors that the screen to body ratio will increase on the inside, a bigger screen on the outside, much better cameras, and also the latest flagship processor. That is definitely an exciting product, and I think that design, the fold like that, is the perfect way, and as the price comes down, I think a lot of people are going to go for a device like that. A new report today suggests that the 2020 iPhones, at least the top-end models, the 5G models, may be delayed into next year. The report says that Apple are considering delaying at least the 5G models because they feel that demand for those models may be lower than they would like, and they don't want to launch a product into a low demand cycle and may wait until demand picks up again when all of this stuff is out the way. There have been a lot of other rumors regarding the entire launch of the iPhone series this year being pushed back a little bit, certainly on the later side this year rather than earlier. There have been some rumors that Apple are readying much improved cameras, at least in the very high-end models, and also AMOLED screens for all of the series this year, which is really exciting. I'm super excited for those high-end models and even better cameras than we've got now. But of course, if it's delayed, it's delayed. We can't do much about it. There's definitely more important things going on, but this is just one report again, and things could change and do change on a daily basis right now. The Redmi K30 Pro just released in China, which is the latest flagship killer from Redmi, is apparently coming to India as the POCO F2. This was found by XDA developers who found some code in MIUI that suggests that the camera watermark that is used when you take photos will be used on a Redmi K30 Pro device and changed to call it a POCO device. This could be coming as the POCO F2 then, according to XDA. There are different versions of the K30 Pro. You've got the very cheapest version, which uses some slightly different hardware, the main Pro versions, and then the Pro Zoom, which gets even more expensive. I would suggest that maybe the cheapest version could come as the POCO F2 and the more expensive versions maybe won't. The K30 Pro is still a fantastic phone. It has a flagship processor, but the price to performance ratio of these flagship killers in 2020 has been thrown out the window. That chipset from Snapdragon is super expensive this year, and it just makes the flagship killer type phones have to make a lot of compromises to fit it in. Still a great phone, but that real cheap price, it's not going to come like that anymore. The OnePlus 8 series specs have been leaked online by Ishan Agarwal on Twitter. The main standout for me is the new camera hardware in the OnePlus 8 Pro. We knew we were getting that 120Hz display. Now we've got two 48 megapixel image sensors, an ultra wide and the main, a zoom camera which may be a 3 times telephoto zoom. The big news is that it will carry 30 watt wireless charging, definitely a good spec, and also an IP68 rating, two things that the previous versions never had. To be honest, there isn't much more that an Android phone can give us right now in terms of hardware. A great phone, the OnePlus 8, is looking like a more subdued version of that phone. No telephoto on that phone, and also no wireless charging on that phone, and it sticks to 90Hz according to these leaked specs.